Welcome to another UTPB HPC cluster tutorials. In this tutorial, we're going to be using containers on the Nitrous cluster. Containers are lightweight, standalone, executable software packages that encapsulate an application along with its dependencies, libraries, binaries, configuration files, etc., ensuring that the application runs reliably and consistently across different computing environments. Unlike virtual machines, containers share the host operating system kernel, which makes them more efficient, easier to manage, and faster to start. The program that we use for containerization in the Nitrous HPC cluster is called Aptainer. Aptainer has a few commands that we're going to go over today, mainly the pull, build, and exec commands, but there has a host of other commands of testing, verification. Aptainer uses and builds what are called SIF files or singularity image format files. These format files are the basis of all containerization on this HPC cluster. Let's test it out. So we're going to pull down a container of just regular old Ubuntu from Docker, from our Docker OCI. Oops. There we go. It already exists. So that's the wrong one too. There we go. Okay, now let's try this again, shall we? Should be using a cached file, but now you can see it's back in the directory. So from here, we can do the run command to get an interactive shell. And then from here, you can see we can do things and yeah, do things from inside of this Ubuntu latest container. But you see that it still uses the same folder system and directory. Cool. So from here, we're going to actually build our own SIF file instead of just pulling one down. So the way we're going to do that is, and we're not going to build our own per se, that's in a different video. This is going to be producing an already built one, but also renaming it is a better way of saying it. So we're going to build, and then we're going to rename it. We're going to say this one, Wolkow, which is a funny little container that runs a version of Catsay, which is another funny little programming thing, but it's with cows instead. And so it basically produces a cow that talks to you and says random things. And so in doing this, know that there are random generations in this build. So here we go. All right, so we're building the signatures. So this is just a warn from the rootless. We can disregard that because this is an HPC cluster. We are running in headless or rootless because you do not have access to root in this cluster. So now that we have it built, we can see it and we can run it. Ta-da! There you go, blackmail. Let's run it one more time and see what we can get. Oh wow, a nice little function. Now if we wanted to say something else, as far as let's clear this, if we wanted to say something specifically, we can go use the exec command, which basically executes a function inside of the container. Ta-da! So this is the basics of using the pull, build, and exec commands in Aptainer on CIF files. These can be used on pretty much any CIF files, and most CIF files can be run on this HPC cluster. It's important to note that this was all done in the login node. Typically, what you want to do is SSH into a compute node before you do this. Just as a general rule of thumb, you don't want to run things on the login node. You want to push them to a compute node. Another way of doing this is building a batch file that calls a container on a compute node or on a set of compute nodes if you're doing MPI. And that's more advanced stuff for a more advanced video. But this has been the basics of using Aptainer and containerization in the HPC cluster at UTPB. Thank you.